All right. Sorry about that, guys. How you guys doing today? We're going to be talking about some basketball. Great show ahead. We're going to be getting into talking about the rankings right now. 7A, 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A. Break some of that down. The first segment was just me. And then the second segment, we'll get into it with Coach Luella's coach, LaToya Brown, kind of see what's going on with their program, find more about her as the head coach and things like that. And the last segment, we'll bring on Craig Sager, break down some basketball, some highly touted recruits in Georgia, and, some teams that have been sleeping, some teams that have been doing well, and some teams that kind of struggled out the gate. So it is basketball season. We are currently about to wrap up football season. So also shout out to Craig in producing his first show. Definitely not easy to do, but I know he's excited. I know he's ready for it. But, yeah, guys, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So, let's see. Let me pull this up really quick. All right, so I was supposed to have on Lufkin County's coach, David Dowse. They won the championship last year. They defeated Georgia Greater Atlanta Christian 51-47 in the final. Katie Jackson improved a lot. She was already known for her prowess in the paint, being able to kind of break down defenders, putting the ball on the floor. But something I seen from an interview was that she really improved her perimeter game. She's kind of a stretch four now. She can shoot the three ball really well. She can shoot at the mid-range really well. So that's something that really helped her out last season. Right now, Lumpkin County is also out to a 5-0 start. They've won each of their games by double digits, so they're performing really brilliantly and really well. And then they have a really good backcourt in Lexi Pierce and Avery Jones. So, unfortunately, I couldn't get them on today, but definitely, in the future, definitely going to try to get them on and talk to them. But let's talk about some of these results the past week or two. We'll start with the girls. I thought this was really good. Actually, no, we'll start with the boys. All right. So, in Class 7A, we have Milton beating number 6 Pebblebrook 84-79. Also, shout out to Sandy Spiel. If you guys aren't subscribed to his channel and his podcast, he does an excellent job with Georgia basketball, recruiting, putting these lists together, these rankings. He follows it very heavy. So make sure you go to sandyspill.com and, subscribe to his podcast and his website. He does a marvelous job. So he definitely helped with some of these results I'm about to say. So, yes, again, Milton 84, Pebblebrook, they defeated them 84-79. Josh Dixon went off for 37 points in that game. Devin Rush added 19, and Seth Fitzgerald scored 9. Avery Wright contributed 8 points, while Roman Atlow chipped in 6. Collins Hill defeated Hebron Christian 67-51. Jalen Madsen in the loss for Hebron Christian had 17 points and 5 rebounds, and then Mataj Glover had 16 points and 5 assists. Mountain View defeated Discovery 81-56. In that one, Cherokee defeated Woodstock 85-48. Tayden Owens finished with 21 points in that one, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals all over the floor there for them. And then Lawrence Stanford posted 16 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Buford handled Harrison 70-40. Harrison was led by Jordan House, 20 points. North Cobb defeated Alatoona 66-42. Lambert 68-49 against Mill Creek. And moving on to 6A, number 3 Jonesboro handled business against Alcovey 80-39. Devon Rainey had 17 points and 5 boards. Number 4 Lanier defeated Denmark 67-52. Number 7 St. Pius defeated Jefferson 63-49. And then number 8 Marist handled their business, defeating GAC 70-43. Luke Harpring, who our very own Craig Sager brought up, performed brilliantly, 23 points, and Trace Gaines had 12. Big win for them. And then number 10, Paulding County, had 69 and defeated Marietta 69-52. And then South Paulding defeated Villa Rica 100-44. Woodward Academy defeated Forest Park 67-47. Appalachia defeated Clarkston 61-58 in the narrow game there. J.J. Griffith had 15 points. Alex Savage had 13. Neville Brathwaite had pitched in 10 points, and Neil Vales had 9. So some good results there. We'll move on to 5A. Number 5 Mays defeated Padilla 81-60 in that one. Solomon Evans, who's actually their quarterback, had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Kind of epic. I wanted to point that out as well for him to play really recently, right after their loss in that incredible game to to Dutchtown 40-34 that overtime game. So he's obviously a two-sport athlete. So shout out to Solomon Evans. Mikael Williams had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 steals. And then Deshaun Arrington posted 12 points, 6 boards, and 4 blocks. For Centennial, they defeated number 8 Parkview 58-57. Kewan Garris had 21 points. Kennedy Warren had 13 points, 6 boards, and 2 assists. Dalton defeated Lafayette 49-34. Calhoun defeated Excel Christian 80-65. So some good results there. And we'll move on to 4A. McDonough defeated number 1. McDonough defeated Woodland Stockbridge 83-56. Avante Nichols had 19 points. Davion Thomas netted 18. Amon McDowell chipped in 15. And then for Woodland, Mason Lewis had 25 points, 7 boards, and Ryan Grace had 18 points, 4 boards, and 4 assists. Number 3, Lovett defeated Hampton 68-48. Michigan commit Christian Anderson had 29 points in that one. Number 6, Madison County defeated Elbert County 77-48. Trinity Christian defeated North Atlanta 52-46. Central Carrollton defeated Rockmart 54-33. And then on to 3A. Number 4, Cross Creek defeated Butler 63-59. Antoine Lorick posted 27 points. DeKale Hobbs and Detrell Smith had 9 points apiece. Cedar Grove, number 8, defeated Stone Mountain 69-44. Darius Reynolds had a double-double with 15 points and 11 rebounds. And then freshman Emmanuel Green had 12 points and 8 rebounds, and they're double-double there. And LaRon Moses had 11 points, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. So doing it on both ends of the floor for him. And then T.L. Hanna, South Carolina School, defeated number 9 Hart County 40-34. Number 10 the Monroe area defeated Winterboro 73-62. Jeremy Anderson scored 18 in that one. And they battled back from 18 down in the first half. So great battle back from them. Jackson defeated Lanier County 63-59. And then on to 2A, number 7, Drew Charter defeated Thorough in overtime. Really good game here, 56-51. Cedric Taylor had 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Kenyatta Bennett added 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 steals. Number 8, Providence Christian was able to defeat and upset number 6, Wesleyan 54-48. In that one, Samuel Thacker, Devin Long both added 29 points combined in that one. And then Wesleyan got 19 from Josh Cable. Athens Academy and Oglethorpe. Athens won this one 54-46. Walker defeated Best Academy 56-46. Banks County defeated Jackson County 74-45. And in Class A Division I, you had number 4, Social Circle defeating MLK. Martin Luther King 76-48. Lamarius Jackson had 31 points in that one. Number 9, Woodville Tompkins defeated Brunswick 67-58. Alfonso Ross poured in 33 points in that game. Commerce defeated Franklin County 71-66. And last but not least, Class A Division II, number 2, Christian Heritage defeated North Sand Mountain 91-64. Jax Abernathy dumped in 37 points, 7 assists, 6 steals, 2 blocks. And then non-GSA Bethlehem Christian defeated Prince Avenue 54-40. And then New Creation Christian defeated Community Christian 89-23. So that's what I got as far as the boys. Now we can go ahead and move on to the women. So Class 7A, number 3 Norcross defeated Shiloh 75-32. Genia Atkins poured in 25 points there. Number 5 Buford defeated Harrison 84-52. Ava Grace Watson pumped in 32 points. Number 8 McKeitron defeated number 1 Kale in overtime. Really good game here, giving them looks like their first loss. Crystal Henderson, all-world player, piled in 35 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals in their loss. South Forsyth defeated Walton 76-46. North Cobb defeated Alatoona 54-16. Decula defeated Chattahoochee 54-29. And then Mountain View defeated Discovery 48-37. Moving on to Class 6A, Rockdale County, number 3, defeated Lovejoy in a very close, tight-knit game, 56-52. Danielle Carnegie dominated with 36 points and 10 boards. She had a double-double. Number 7, Forest Park defeated Woodward Academy in an upset, 69-66. Cameron Herring had 20 points and 8 boards. George Washington signee Sarah Lewis had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Number 9, Brunswick defeated number 5, Woodville Tompkins 66-61. Jemiah West had 25 points and 6 boards in their comeback victory there. Sequoia defeated number 8, East Forsyth 64-53. Shelby Bellinger netted 20 points for them, while Southern Miss signee L. Blatchford and Nathan Pollard both scored 12. Douglas County defeated Letha Springs 71-33. Appalachia defeated Clarkson 52-16. St. Pius defeated Jefferson 61-51. Lanier defeated Denmark 46-43. Creekview defeated Cambridge in a close game 40-39. And then Paulding County and Marietta went to OT, with Paulding County winning 60-54. Moving on to 5A, GAC, number 10 in the rankings, defeated Marist 52-44. Freshman Asia Johnson, who I was able to talk to, the head coach for GAC, about Asia Johnson. She had a great game, 16 points, and then Trinity Thomas had 13. Cass defeated Southeast Whitfield 62-24. Decatur defeated Whitefield Academy 92-27. Moving on to 4A, Stockbridge defeated Pace Academy 49-46. 24 points and 9 rebounds for Wilson in that game. Carrollton Wilson, and then Desmaya Kroom chipped in 11. Hardaway defeated Harrison County 71-45. Lovett defeated Hampton 46-21 in that one, and then Trinity Christian defeated North Atlanta 46-27. Also, same in 4A, Norfolk County defeated Oconee County 60-41. Hatfield Charter 47-22 victory against Douglas. 3A, Lake Forth Oglethorpe defeated Heritage Catoosa 46-35. Number 6, White County defeated Union County 69-48. Naomi Roberts went for 29 points in that game. Gilmer defeated Murphy from North Carolina 54-51 in overtime. Eliza Chastain led with 22 points. Moving to 2A, Mount Perrin defeated North Cobb Christian 44-23. Brookmore had 17 points, 6 boards, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. Number 4, Central Macon defeated number 5, Baldwin 39-38. Talia Glare was the leading scorer with 14. And then Janias Walker 15 for Baldwin led the way there. Number 6, Bates County versus Jackson County, 56-18 win for them. Number 7, Dodge County defeated Northside Warner Robins 50-47. Glenna Ray Whitley scored 15, and Jada Baxter added 14. All right, moving to Class A, Division 1. Number 3, Elbert County defeated Madison County 65-38. Anaya Allen poured in 27, and Nia Moon scored 24. And again, this was a team that won it all last year in Elbert County. I had the pleasure of talking to their coach, Josh Jones. A really good group. Anaya Allen is a stud. Really great player for them, and she's continuing to show just how good she is. And then number 4, Rabun County defeated Franklin, North Carolina, 55-42. Lucy Hood led the way with 25 points, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Bryan County defeated Savannah Christian 77-19. Shanti Brown had 20 points in that one. And to the last division, Division 2, Class A. Non-GSA and Stratford defeated Westfield 41-31. Westminster Augusta defeated Fox Creek 47-19. George Walton Academy defeated Westminster Christian 71-33. And then First Presbyterian Day defeated Trinity Christian 52-38. All right. Sorry, y'all. That was a mouthful. But nonetheless, those are some of the results for the past week. Again, shout out to Sandy Spiel. For, kind of updating us with the basketball. And, like I said, I love his content and what he has going over there on his website. He does a great job recapping the games and, kind of keeping Georgia high school basketball and letting us know what's going on. So I wanted to talk about 2 quick teams real quick. Kell on the boys' side, they had a huge win versus Green Forest in overtime in Pebblebrook. So 2 top 10 wins in the last couple of weeks for them. And Norcross boys basketball is having a good start. Usually they're playing in the tournament around this time. But I think their next game is until December 6th, which is in 5 days. But they're 4-0 right now, and that's a notable matchup against Meadow Creek. They had notable wins against Sandy Creek and Marist. That game against Meadow Creek is notable because a couple of years ago, Meadow Creek actually defeated Norcross in the state championship game, I think to win their first title in their history. So definitely very interesting there. But, yeah, it's a lot of good players. Some that stood out to me I'm going to talk to Craig about. That I definitely wanted to get into. Let's see. Stephon Castle for Newton. He's a UConn commit. He's very high on the boards as far as just 24/7 sports. So I definitely want to find out more about him and talk to Craig about him and how good he is. I heard that Newton program, boys basketball, is really good this year. And then another player, obviously, is Isaiah Collier. He's a South California commit, USC commit. He's number 4 right now in the basketball rankings according to 24/7 Sports. So, Wheeler has a lot of studs in their program, and I think right now they are currently undefeated at 3-0. So I want to see really, obviously they're talented. How far can that program go this year? McEachern, we know at 5-1 has been very dangerous this year. Norcross again is 4-0. Grace has been having a great season, 4-1. Newton with the loss, I think, to McEachern. Um, they're at 2-1. Pebblebrook's 2-2, but played a tough non-region schedule. Carrollton's at 2-0. Parkview is 4-2 right now. Archer is 5-1. Osborne is 6-2. 6A for the boys. Alexander 3-0. Grovetown's 2-4. Jonesboro's 1-0. Lanier 2-3. Langston Hughes 1-2. Got Etowah, St. Pius, Marist, North Forsyth. And then in 5A, 3-0 right now is the Kell boys. As I mentioned, Eagles Landing's 3-0. Hiram's 4-1. Tri-City's 2-2. Mays 2-2. Jones County's 4-0. Heritage Conyers is 3-1. Dutchtown's 4-2, and then Tucker is 3-2, and Lithonia is 5-0. And McDonald's having a good season. I think they're currently 2-0 right now. Been tearing up competition. Pace Academy 2-0. Lovett 3-0. Fayette County 3-0. 4-1, excuse me. Miller Grove 4-1. Madison County 3-0. Westover 2-2. So a lot of rankings. I'm definitely going to break this down with Craig in a little bit, just to kind of get a spiel, see what's kind of going on. Focus has kind of been for us on obviously football, but it's kind of raining down now because we're in the semifinals. So make sure you guys tune into the Gainesville game versus Roswell. That's going to be a really good one. And Craig's show is going to be tomorrow, so tune into that as well. And we're going to take a Carver Atlanta coming on tomorrow. Okay, so that'll be a good one. Carver Atlanta, Santa Cruz is going to play on the football side. I think that'd be a really good matchup. They've played multiple times in the past couple of years, and they're probably going to face Cedar Grove. But Cedar Grove has a good one coming up. They play Oconee County, really good defensive team. Be curious to see if they can kind of slow down that high-power offense down. But yeah, tune into Craig's show tomorrow. Georgia's Preps drive for the GHSA state title. It'll be a good one. Kind of our last one on TV next week. I'm not sure how the state final works and how much coverage we'll do on that. I know we won't do a game, but be interesting to see if we still do roundups. But we'll find it out more next week. But we're going to take a quick short break before we bring on Luella's coach, LaToya Brown. All right, guys, we are back from commercial break. So, yeah, some things I'm going to get into with the coach, just talking about her career, how it came to be, what kind of inspired her to get into coaching, and, how it's kind of been with their program. I think, Craig, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Luella program has been pretty up there the past couple of years. Right. They've won state titles? Got you. Yeah, so that's a program I've heard that's been doing really well recently, and they've kind of built a culture there, and that they're not backing down to nobody, and I just like kind of her aura, her energy that she brings to kind of the team, and you're really sorry to see a difference, and it makes for the girls. So yeah, I can't wait to talk to her in a bit. I think that'll be really good conversation. But yeah, it's kind of a preview of what else we're going to talk about with Craig. We're going to talk about some of the biggest sleepers this year, obviously in basketball, both on the women's and the men's side. Just, who's been doing some damage this year, who's kind of flying under the radar. And then we're going to go through kind of some of the rankings on our website on scoreatl.com for the women and men's, just seeing what stands out there, who are some of the, the biggest teams that have been making an impact this year. And then on the girls' side, kind of the same thing. Who's been kind of slept on, and who's been performing well. And really, like I said, how good is the Norcross boys this season? I haven't been able to see them, but I know they're off to a 4-0 start. Who are some dangerous sleepers out there in 7 and 6A? We'll get into that as well. And then some thoughts on the Luella's basketball program, kind of the women's side. How good are they? And then obviously Wheeler, a great program, a lot of studs on that team. Just how good is that Wheeler program? Can they win it all this year out there in 7A? And then again we'll talk about Stephon Castle, the Newton from Newton, the UConn commit. See how good he is. But do we have her?
Still the same screen. Would I see her physically talking if she's on?
Yeah. So you just go to 3 and then
Still.
it's still that one. Okay, so she hasn't joined yet. That's all right. Yep. So as soon as we get her on, Craig will give me a sign. But I guess I can go ahead and finish up some of the rankings and just some of the teams that have been performing well out there in the lower classifications. 3A, Johnson Savannah 3-1 right now. Sandy Creek 2-2. Beach is 5-0. Cross Creek is 1-3. Monroe is 1-1. Wesleyan's 4-0. Oconee County 4-0. Cedar Grove 3-1. Hart County is 2-1. Looking at 2A, Westside Augusta 3-2. Spencer 1-0. Columbia is 4-0. Sumter County 3-0. Putnam County 2-0. Drew Charter 2-1. North Cobb Christian 1-1. Then looking at Class A Division 1, Kings Ridge 3-1. Mount Vernon Presbyterian 5-1. Mount Bethel 5-0. Social Circle 2-0. Mount Pisgah 3-1. Tallulah Falls 3-1. Padilla 3-3. Woodville Tompkins 3-2. Athens Christian 3-1. And then in Division 2, Green Forest 2-2. Christian Heritage 1-0. Wilkinson County 1-0. Portal 4-0. Dooley County, Calhoun County 1-1, and then Chattahoochee County at 2-0. So those are some of the kind of teams that stand out in those kind of top tens and some rankings. And it looks like Brookwood's girls are tearing it up. They're 6-0 right now. I think they got a recruit this past off season that or somebody transferred over that she's having a good season. Archer's 4-0, Norcross 3-0. Buford still 3-0. Peachtree Ridge 4-0. 6A River Ridge and their kind of dominant guard. Been performing well. I think they had one of the top players in the state. They're 4-0 right now. Lovejoy's at 2-1. Was able to talk to the coach earlier this year. He was performing great. They're 2-1 right now. Rockdale County's 4-0. Woodward Academy's 3-1. North Forsyth is 3-1. So I just think both of those that top kind of 5 there will be really intriguing. Again, I think this is one of the deepest classifications right now. If you look at basketball, especially whether you look at the women or men's side, I think anybody here could win it. Lovejoy won it all last year. River Ridge just kind of wants to be back in that spot. Rockdale County has a really good team, so it's a lot out there in 6A. And like I said, it could be one of the toughest classifications this year. Then in 5A, you got Kell. They're 3-1. Warner Robins is 2-0. Maynard Jackson 4-0. Bradwell, Institute's 4-1. Northside Columbus 1-1. And then in 4A, got Holly Innocence 2-2. Griffin 3-1. Luella, hopefully we'll be able to get on at 2-1. Stockbridge 3-1. And then moving on to 3A, have Hebron Christian 4-0. Lumpkin County 4-0. Wesleyan 2-0. White County 4-1. Carver Columbus. Cross Creek 3-1. Dawson County 3-1. And then in 2A, Mount Perrin 3-0. Landon Christian 2-3. Josie's 3-1. Galloway out in Class A Division 1 4-1. St. Francis 2-3. Elbert County 1-1. Rabun County 1-0. And then Class A Division 2, Lake Oconee Academy 4-0. Taylor County 4-0. So those are some of the standouts in some of those kind of classifications and conferences. I'm going to try to text Coach and see if we can get her on.
Well, I was wrong. They lost in double overtime to Marist in 2021.
21.
2 points. That would have been their first state title. So.
Okay. Now, let me see if I can get it rolling.
So last 2 years ago they lost by 1 in the playoffs, and then last year they lost double overtime. So 2 tough outs.
Dang. All right, so I'm going to highlight the program, guys. In the meantime, girls basketball, the Griffin Bears right now off to a great start. 3-1 right now. Wins against Upson Lee. They won 75-25. Really close victory against Woodward Academy, 62-56. Central Macon, they won 56-40, and then they suffered their first loss of the year, actually against Kale, who again I think led by Kendra Bailey. They're having a great program. They're 3-2 actually currently right now. Looking at them really quick, they beat Westlake 65-31 and beat a good Langston Hughes team 75-50. They lost a non-region game to Hoover, Alabama 62-47, and then their most recent loss about a couple of days ago was to McEachern 66-55. So that was definitely interesting there. Do we have her? She said she's on there. She like her mouth moving or anything?
I haven't seen anything.
No. Okay. Alright. Alright. Trying to get Coach on. All right, so let's look at some of the stats to this season for kind of Griffin. Sitting at 3-1 right now. Let's see how they're doing. Looks like Aaliyah Dorenham averaging about 19.8 points per game. Doing really good on the boards too, about 5.5, 2.5 assists. She's really good on the defensive end, averaging 3.3 steals a game. She's having a good season, the senior. And then their other looks like player Thompson has 15.8 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 1.8 steals per game, and a block per game. So she plays also really good on both ends of the floor. Really interesting there. Shooting the ball pretty well, those two. Durham has shooting 52% from the field, really efficient, and then Thompson is shooting 60% from the field. So those two look like they kind of carry the scoring load for Griffin. They're having some pretty good seasons and kind of leading the way for the girls. So yeah, I mean, to me, their only loss was to Kale. Again, that's a pretty good team. They got some upcoming games against Westlake, Stars Mill. They'll play Upson Lee as well, West Lawrence, Perry, West Side, Macon, Alcovey, Bridewell Institute, Swainsboro, Baldwin, Howard, Langston Hughes. It'll be a non-region game. Spalding, they got Grayson on the schedule. West Side, East Coweta, West Lawrence, Perry again, Baldwin, Howard, and then Spalding. So, I mean, obviously, that's a good team to kind of keep an eye on and seeing what they can do. Craig, do me a favor. She's calling. Just see if you can talk to her. Just ask her what she's seeing. All right. Sorry again, guys. We're trying to get the coach on. It's been having kind of some issues.
Are you having trouble seeing it? What's coming up on your phone?
But yeah, I think they're having a good year.
It
Um,
says just showing a blue screen.
a blue screen is not showing her through. It's not showing me.
Okay. So you can't see Najee or anything. It's just a plain blue screen. She said she could see herself in the corner in the box.
But she can't see me though.
So you can't see Najee.
Actually she on the computer.
Are you on a computer or computer?
Computer. Ask her is her Wi-Fi good? Like, is her school Wi-Fi good there?
Is the school Wi-Fi good?
Sometimes it could be spotty.
Yeah, she's on her work computer. She said connection's fine.
Okay. Tell her that the connection could be spotty. She may have to use her phone
Okay.
because sometimes if it's not strong enough, it won't put her through.
Okay, would you be able to try it on your phone? Okay.
All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Trying to get Luella's coach on. Uh, doing a little bit of everything. Thank you, Craig. But yeah, again, looking at their schedule, let's look at Westlake. They're 2-4 right now. Usually, Westlake is known kind of being a pretty good program, but some a tough schedule, some tough losses. They lost to McEachern this year, 60-40. Kale lost earlier this year, 65-31. Hillgrove. So they started kind of 0-3, kind of picked up some steam against Decatur and Stevenson in the tournament. They did eventually lose to South Forsyth, but I think they got a pretty big game coming up this Saturday against Griffin. Kind of see where they're at, and then they have a kind of a looks like a pre-Christmas tournament. Not sure where they're playing, but try to gain some traction, get some wins and some momentum going. So I think that'll be really interesting for them in their program. But yeah, like I said, Griffin. Um, I want to check on the Kel program as well. Let's see. Actually, yeah, let's look at Brookwood because Kale actually was going to play Brookwood, and actually, forgive me, Brookwood is 7-0. They beat East Jackson, Winterboro, Lovejoy. Wow, that was a close game, 54-51. Discovery 76-21, Pope 67-35, Loganville 61-32, and Hillgrove. They play River Ridge actually tomorrow, so that'll be an interesting one to see. River Ridge, like I said, they're undefeated. I think that's going to be a really good game between those two. River Ridge, as you guys all know, has a really good player. I want to kind of look at that Lovejoy game, kind of see what happened there. Looks like it was close to start. It was a 12-9 game. Brookwood led the way. Lovejoy actually outscored Brookwood 17-15 in the second. Third quarter was tied 12-12. And then the fourth quarter, Brookwood won 15-13. So again, it looks like an evenly matched, kind of a back and forth game between both the programs. I think they both performed brilliantly in that one. Let's look at kind of the stats. Um, Looks like they had kind of a hard time shooting in this one for Lovejoy. They only shot as a team only 32%. So defensively, Brookwood was very stout and good. Um, Lanaya Foster was able to kind of get it going a little bit. She shot, okay, 33% from the field. She had 21 points, 7 for 21 though. So not as efficient of a game. And then Brianna Preston, their other stud, had 18 points but 5 for 14 shooting. So again, I think Brookwood in that game what stands out. They played defense really, really well. And they were able to actually get to the free throw line pretty good for Lovejoy. Just couldn't convert. Left 8 points there. They were 14 for 22 from the line. Preston did good. She was 8 for 10. But yeah, left some points there on the board. I think that was a difference, obviously, in the game as well. Um, and then turnovers were kind of big. They had committed 23 turnovers. Usually that's not a recipe for success. I know Coach was definitely nailing that down to them, the turnovers and converting at the free throw line. So those are some of the big keys, obviously, in the result of that one against kind of Brookwood. That was really interesting and intriguing. Let me see. Hold on. All right, hold on. Trying to get this coach on. Same thing. Trying. It's not showing anything on your end? No? Yeah, that's the old one from today. All right, freak. Yeah, it's not even coming through.
There it is.
You got her.
Yep.
All right. Hey, coach. Sorry about the
Hey,
connection and
that's,
everything.
that's
How you
all
doing
right.
today?
I had to come outside.
I
I'm
figured
all right. How
sometimes.
about you?
Yeah, I'm good. Sometimes I know when we get coaches on the Wi-Fi connection inside the school. I mean, it'll be fine, but I guess for our software, sometimes they have to step out.
Oh, God.
Yes, ma'am. But yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. I really want to get into it with your program. I want to start with you though, Coach. Kind of did some research on you, find a little bit more. I heard that you went to Carroll High School. I think you played point guard position. How was that for you, Coach? Um, and how many points did you average?
Man, high school. That was some years ago. Yeah, I played at the famous Carroll High School. Sir Makers, the only one in the country. Played 4 years of varsity, elite eight, couple years, couple weeks. Pretty career high school for 3 years. So had a good year there. Have a good year.
Yes, ma'am. And then I heard that you went to I think it's called Chipotle College out there on the Panhandle in Florida. I know, obviously, they have really good basketball there. So you did a stint there. I think you won a couple championships. So how was it for you, Coach, winning those two championships? And then I think, after that you went to Fresno State. But how? Just tell me how that junior college experience was for you, Coach.
It was amazing. I tell a lot of kids, don't get confident with this, people, kind of like junior college, all competitive and just unmatched. Experience altogether. It was amazing. If I had to do that over again, I'd do it all over again. It was probably definitely like my two best college. That should-
Yes, and for you, Coach, after that, after the 2 years there, you went to Fresno State and played some ball there. How was that, Coach? And what did that kind of experience teach you?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it was kind of, same thing. Like, just, trying to move down. It seemed like we kind of getting taken up a little. Just that experience, going to college and going from one level to another level. Uh, uh, being at, Chipola, being a star guard there first, playing Final Four championship, there. And, Fresno State, we was actually, my first year there was the first group that won the WAC championship, though. I don't know. I guess I've been fortunate enough to kind of first is first in school history to do that. So uh, those years were special as well. But suppose it was amazing.
Yes, ma'am. And what kind of led you to get into coaching? And I know you're a point guard, so a point guard is almost like a coach on the floor. They can be. So when you was that point guard, obviously you was that leader on the floor. But what led you to coaching? Who was somebody that gave you that first kind of opportunity to be a coach?
Man, a lot of people saying, coach, when you're sorry, you already put in those situations to lead and really, no more than others. So you uh, uh, for coaching. So it's just something I do. My high school coach, so I definitely uh, he came in so and I was interested in doing other
Yes, and Let's revisit last year, Coach. Obviously, we know this is a brand new year, but it was a close loss to Marist. What do you kind of remember from that game, Coach? And what is some things you think your girls can take from that loss to kind of fuel into this season and just kind of finish the job, finish the task.
Oh man.
Still got her.
Yeah, it looks like it froze up. You want me to try to?
Yeah, just cut back to me, and then if she comes back, just cut back to her. Okay, so it looked like we kind of lost her there, but when she comes back, I ask her the same question. I mean, it was a close loss to Marist. They competed, battled very well in that one. It was a 2 point loss. So yeah, just wanted to know kind of what she told her girls. Like I said, they're having a really good season this year. Okay,
Hey, I'm sorry, phone went out there.
no
Can
problem.
you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Yeah, last year, team was absolutely yes. Like it's kind of hard to put in words the team that we had last year. Um, that game, man, it's crazy that I haven't talked about that game publicly since that game. So
What?
no, I haven't. I haven't talked about that. I done had so many people ask me that.
Wow.
I haven't discussed that game publicly since March, since we lost that game.
Wow. Man,
Yeah.
coach. Okay, so obviously we know what that means. Wow. I mean, gotta respect that,
I'm
coach.
saying uh, hey, you know, being the number one team in the state in our classification the entire year. Um, the caliber team, that we had, of course, it's unfortunate. But it's a lot of lessons that goes on with that. When I teach the girls, we have talked about it and just understanding that one of it's a few things, we could take just life lessons from that. Just, never celebrating too early, always making sure we finish the drill is something that we discuss, but me being proud of my kids is an understatement, and just them understanding that sometimes life, it doesn't matter how hard that you work, sometimes you fall short, and that's okay. Like, you pick your feet up, tie your boots up, and you get back to work. So life. And so just them understanding that life lesson, myself as well. Of course, I wanted it just as bad as they did. But life, that happened. Like, sometimes you fail, sometimes you could be the best that it is at a position and you might not get the job. So that was one of those moments where, I was able to eventually, we was able to get back there and just discuss that. But I'm extremely proud of my girls, and we will forever go down in the history books for state runner up. And like I tell them, you have a sense of pride about yourself as knowing that it's so many teams in the world, the country, the state of Georgia that never will and never have gotten the opportunity to play for a state championship. So you're in an elite group, whether you win it or not. What you accomplished last year is something that some teams will never be able to experience. So
Yeah, I agree, coach, and I just want to say thank you for kind of sharing that as well. I know kind of sometimes when I used to play basketball, my team, I played rec league and things like that in freshman ball. But I know when we got to the big game and we lost, I did not want to talk about it. I didn't talk about it until maybe like the next year. So I could totally relate to that, coach. Definitely understand that.
right.
And just like your coaching experience, coach. What kind of strategy or philosophy do you have with your girls? Are you kind of just, hard on them all the time, or do you kind of take that approach where, you're teaching them life lessons at the same time? Are you like 50-50, hard on them? You're a little lenient in some things, or you just hard on them all the time? What do you take?
Well, my alumni would say that I'm soft now. I have alumni group chat with my previous players. And they at Detroit Mercy. I got kids at Furman, at Fresno State, Coppin, and It's probably about 10 in there. And if you ask them, they would say that I'm definitely soft now. But no, I try to be, as you grow or whatever, you kind of separate it a little more from the game and just understanding that these kids don't have your IQ level. They don't think like you think, and some of them don't approach it how you approach. So just really, now it's more of a 50-50. I be tough. Uh, I got a tough side to me, and I'm a little jelly bean really when it comes to them. But of course, I'm tough on them, but I also try to make sure more than I've done in my past years of coaching, of them understanding why. So we're always giving the reason why afterwards. What's the lesson that has absolutely nothing to do with basketball, but it's about basketball, you know. So
Yes, ma'am.
that's my
And
approach now.
got you. I love it. I love that approach. And, I really think, that it really sticks out to me just, that state final loss of what you just said. Just sometimes you can be the best at your position or even just, put 100% effort. And you almost see, coach, I'm sure you see it all the time. You just see girls or just the society. They always make you think you got to have it now, or you got to be 100% now. But sometimes, you're going to fall short, and you got to know how to be able to respond to that adversity of even though you put 100% in, you might not just quite make it. So love definitely those lessons you teaching those girls. I think that's really important. And, sometimes you can work hard for something and not get it, but that don't mean that you just stop. So definitely wanted to point that out. But, Coach, what stood out in that game? I think it was Tuesday or it was yesterday, but it's this past week against Hampton. What stood out to you in that game?
You saying that we play Hampton on tomorrow? Are you saying the game that we recently played?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's the game you recently played. Yes, ma'am.
The last game that we played was in Florida. We played against man, who did we play? I can't even think right now, but we played one in the prep school, Andrew something, in Florida.
Let me see.
Right now, a lot of people don't know. Like we haven't even had our uh,
Yeah, American Heritage. That's who it was.
14. Yeah, yeah, American Heritage. That's the
Yep.
name. Just currently we're ranked third in our classification. Um, and we're 2-1. We lost to Palm Bay Magna School in Florida. So it's just seeing what we have, where we at right now, the things that we got to improve on and get better at. But the biggest thing is, we kind of been without two out of the three of our leading scorers last year. So hopefully we have them back soon. But I mean, the girls that's been playing in those positions has been doing amazing things, and they haven't skipped the beat. So I'm proud of them of what I've seen so far, and just they understand. I understand. The coaching staff understand that uh, what it takes for us to get back to making, and,
Yep.
and that's the goal.
Yes, ma'am. And then the two players, it's not Ariana Dyson or Evelina Devaclaw, is it? Those are
No, Evelina is at unfortunately at Jackson Jackson State right now. That's what you go to college at. And
okay.
Ariana is a senior this year, and yeah, she's playing. I
Okay,
think that
and
last game she was like 20 and 11. The last game Ariana Dyson that last game that we just played.
yeah, how good is she? What are some aspects she kind of worked on in the off season? I seen she was on a couple lists as far as just like all state players. Just how good is she? What does she kind of bring to your team, Coach?
Ah man, energy. She's a bowl of energy. Energy bomb is what I call it, and that's kind of like her gift. A lot of people don't understand the skill set of that energy, how it can change the entire game, change the entire program. So outside the obvious her skill of it is just the energy that she brings, and when she brings that, we're pretty much on a stop team. Everybody feeds off of that.
Yes, ma'am. And what's kind of your offensive identity? I know everybody has different things they like to do. Some like to just get it to their stars and depend on that. But like you say, you've had to have some players kind of step into some roles due to some injuries. Do you like to hit your perimeter? Do you like to hit the post? Kind of move the ball in and then take it back out, play from outside in or inside out? What are some things you like to do offensively, coach?
And we really a transition team. Like that's the goal. Like we want to play fast. We want to get it out. We up in a situation, of course, I say that knowing that a lot of teams, that's their coaches game plan to slow us down and make us play a half court set. So um, I mean, we have kids in different positions that can score the ball different ways. So it just really depends on who we plan. Scouting reports is we do a lot of scouting reports with our girls, just teaching them for the next level how to be prepared, how that works. Scouting reports are, and it's just really based on who we're playing. Like as far as practice goes, we play. Of course, we teach them both ways: transition, half court offense, slow it down, and scouting report. They always know who we're gonna attack, what we're gonna go. So it might be a guard game, it might be a post game. It just really depends on who we're playing.
Okay. And then I see something really interesting. I watched a little bit of the podcast. I don't know if you remember. You did it a couple months ago, but I wanted to shout him out. It's called Sports Den Podcast. Definitely helped me learn a little bit
Yeah.
more about you. So I wanted to shout him out. He definitely helped me with this, just getting it together, these questions for you in this interview. But I heard that you make them
Right.
do cross country, your girls. So, I mean, how is that? I know they're not big fans of it, but I know that gotta help them out a lot on the basketball court. Just being able to run up and down, and they already been conditioned to run them the kind of 3 miles. Tell me, why you do that, coach, and what's kind of their response to that?
Well, my one of my favorite quotes is, "This is not for everybody."
Yeah,
This is not for everybody. And I think conditioning and endurance is a big part of the game that you play, especially when you're talking about just being mental tough. So, I want kids around me that's mentally tough and prepared for anything. Across country, I mean, it literally takes you to be mentally prepared, mentally to be able to run cross country.
yeah.
So, that's our preseason. I've been doing it since I was coaching. That's the type of stuff that I was put through as a player. Even in college, we did it. I mean, University of Yukon, they run 3 miles every day, every single day.
Right.
So, I mean, again, like it literally separates the people who this is just for fun, and
Yeah.
this is kids that this is what they want to do. Like I'm all for us having a good time, but the girls know I'm always straightforward with them. When you get to this level, and especially in that Luella across your chest, like we're trying to win.
Yeah.
It's not recreational basketball. Like we're trying to win.
Straight like that, I respect that. And the cool thing about cross country too, you're training in the elements, whether it's hot, it's cold, it's raining. So you're already putting your body through it and you're getting it right. So when you face that and you in the fourth quarter, you in a double overtime, a triple overtime game, your body can respond and be ready for it.
Right, and then they grow a lot of respect for each other too. Team bonding and those. It's just a different when you have girls that they don't 2 months they've been grinding with you before it even's time for official practice. They've been busting they behind with you out there. Y'all, you kind of bring that bonding together where coach done worked out nerves. She done been in us for 2 months, and so it's just so much more special when they get out. When they get out here on the hardwood together.
Yes, ma'am. And for you, coach, again, every coach is different, but do you kind of have a leader on the floor for your program? Somebody just, they're kind of the coach on the floor. They're talking to the girls. They're huddling up if it's a turnover or it's a big play, they're just getting the girls right back in there. Or do you kind of just, handle all that? I know every, system is different. Some coaches depend on certain players to do that. Sometimes it's the coach or it's kind of a player-led group. How is it for your program?
Man, that's a great question. To myself personally, I feel like the best teams are player led teams. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the best thing. So sometime, I mean, not sometime, a lot of time early in the season, I kind of all my coaching is really done in practice. When it's time for game, I try to my best to put them in situations where they don't have to depend on me. This is something that you know. This is something that we went over. Um, I've even been in games. My coaching staff, my previous players would tell you, I'm like, hey, what do you want to run here? Like, what do you want to run here? And they look at
Wow.
me like I'm crazy. So, just them understand that I trust you, you trust me. So I sometimes will put the game in the player's hand and let them make, of course, the ones that earn them, let them make a decision, let them make a call. And it's good for kids, like, yeah, like, especially if it work out for them. Like, coach trusted me to do this and I got it done. So,
Yep. Yeah, you're giving them that kind of that autonomy, and you're letting them kind of decide, in a sense, how it's going to go and what kind of their go-to play is. I mean, yeah, I personally I like that. That's kind of a approach. Like, we're gonna put it in your hands, see what you do with it. But tell
right.
me too a little bit more about Jada Session. I've seen her kind of pop up too. How has she been for you this year, and what's the thing she's brought to the table?
Well, actually, Jada's at Furman.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Jada, she
Okay.
graduated. This is her second year. She's a sophomore this year at Furman. This year,
Okay.
Jada
All right. Well, I got to work on my sources. What I seen, they still had her on the roster, so that's on me. But as a matter
is.
of fact,
That's
coach,
okay.
just
That's okay.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. But tell me, coach, a little bit more about. Obviously, we know you got Ariana Dyson, but tell me a little bit more about your team. Like some of those players that stepped up in those roles, obviously with the injuries. Tell me a little bit more about your team.
Oh man, this class here, we have six seniors this year. Ariana Dyson, Cameron Berry, Tamaya Stevens, Trinity Layton, Samaya McCree, and Shelby Lacey. So this senior class is a class that has played and that have won three region championships. That has played in three, two Final Fours and a state championship game. So this is a really special class. Of course, junior class. We got some really good juniors, sophomores, freshmen right now starting for us at point guard. Angel Thomas. Also, we got a good group of kids, but it's the seniors class is been here, so I'm interested to really see how they take this year under their wings and what they do with it.
Yes, ma'am. And what are some tournaments your girls are going to be playing in this year? I know you had the Florida tournament that your girls played in earlier, but what are some
Mhm.
other tournaments your girls going to be playing in?
We played a Tampa Bay Christmas Invitational for Christmas, and then we will be at the She Got Game Classic in January. We're playing the J4 Sports Tournament in January as well, and it's one more I think that we are in. But we played at the champions, legacy champions, Peach State something I cannot think, and I know he's gonna kill me for it. But we played Elwood County, the defending state champs. We played them there. That was our first game of the year. So we've I love to get the players in different showcases, especially so they're being able to be seen by college coaches and so on. And man, it takes a lot to get invited to some of these camps, so some of these showcases. So, it just what this group of girls has been able to do to for us to even be invited and play at these tournaments.
Yes, ma'am. Well, two more questions before I let you go, Coach. One, what's kind of your philosophy on like the non-region schedule? As you mentioned, you played the Elbert County. They were the defending state champion in their classification. Do you try to schedule really tough, so your girls can kind of, you find out more about your girls, your strengths, your weaknesses, or do you just kind of, see where they're at?
Nah,
You
you
don't
don't
try
even
to.
gotta finish that. You don't even have to finish that. I wouldn't care if it's who it is. They know my favorite thing to say. One thing about Luella girls basketball team, we ain't ducking no smoke from nobody. So it don't matter
I
who you
love it.
play us against, who you put us against, we gonna compete. So, that doesn't mean that we're gonna win every time, but I promise you
Right.
we're gonna compete. We ain't running from nobody. Ever. So
Yep.
the coaches say, what level you want to be in? It's crazy because the tournament directors are send you, call you, or send you a text message and be like, hey, what level you want to be at? I said, what that mean? Like, you guys can stop even asking me that. Like, put us against the best of the best. Like, we went to
Right.
Florida last year. We ran Florida. We went back this year. They put us against the freaking Magnum schools, the academy schools. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's okay. We'll
Right.
take whatever challenge. So, but I mean, shoot, at the She Got Game Classic, I believe, or either the J4 Sports, we play freaking Hoover, Alabama, and they've won like 6 titles in a row. So, I mean,
Wow.
it is what it is. Like my favorite thing Amon Shepard always say, take me where they say the dog at. And that's where I want to go. Wherever they say the dog at, line them up.
Right.
Let's go.
I love
So,
it.
no,
I
it's
love it,
good, man.
coach. Yeah, I love that.
It's
We ain't
good
ducking
time.
no
But, yeah,
smoke. You know what I'm saying? We ain't ducking
we
no
ain't
smoke.
ducking no smoke. And you can quote me on
Yes,
that.
ma'am. I love that. I love that. That's how you got to be. You know, whoever it is, we don't care. You know, we gonna battle, we gonna compete, and we're fine with the result because we're gonna put that 100%. You know, I respect that, coach. And I guess the last question for you, coach. We know
Definitely.
what you guys want to accomplish this year, but just for you, I think you've been there 6 years. This will be the seventh, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what's
Yep,
been your
this will be
favorite
the
thing about
7th year.
coaching?
Oh man, my favorite thing about coaching is
Yeah.
just the kids going off to school, like that next level of them being able to go and sign on that dotted line and go change their life. Like that is absolutely the best thing about coaching to me. Like it brings me so much joy. College, the season is starting, and not even just the ones that went for basketball, like whatever it is that they doing. I got some that's finishing up nursing, finishing up doctor school. They sending me pictures and like, hey, coach, or they sending me the media guide, or hey, I made the starting lineup, or hey, I passed my nursing exam, I passed my LSAT, like so just for them to be 6 years, 7 years removed, and they still keep me involved in what they have going on. And just hey, I appreciate. Uh, Shit got tough, it got hard, but I'm like, man, I had Coach Brown. This is
Yup.
easy. So just those little
Yup.
things like that. So that's like to me, and it has absolutely nothing to do with wins and losses. Those are those are the best. My favorite moments of coaching.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I want to say thank you. Please forgive me for some of my errors with the players that no longer on your program. But, Coach, you were so much fun. I learned a lot about your program. I definitely want to have you on again in the future, maybe before your playoff run or before you start the region tournament and things like that, and kind of just talk about your program, where it's at, and how your girl's been playing and how it's been ever since the injury. So, thanks again, Coach, for joining.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. And man, you guys are doing amazing things. Keep it up. If you're gonna do it, make sure you go all out doing it.
You're right about that. That's what I'm trying to do, Coach. I've been covering this is just real quick before I let you go. This is my first year kind of covering the basketball realm. Right now, I've been doing kind of the football, so I've been all over that. But football's winding down. But yeah, this is like my first paid journalism job. So I do like a lot. I do content creation, writing, hosting, giving reports, analysts. I do it all. So I definitely appreciate that,
Man,
Coach. Definitely.
we may have to get you here for our MLK tournament that we're having at Luella this year,
Okay.
and we got a lot of good teams in here from Westlake to Gainesville High School to Dutchtown, Jonesboro. Yeah, we have a ball one Hardaway out of Columbus, so it's gonna be a pretty good tournament. So
Yeah, coach, let me
we
know.
we
You
have
got my
you have my
number. I
contact,
definitely let it
so
come out support.
you
And, you know,
more
I
than
got my
welcome.
equipment, so I definitely let a report on that and get some info out.
All righty, sounds good.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you so much. Have a good day. Thanks again.
No problem. You
All
too.
right.
What does the 50th anniversary of Title IX mean? It means I'm valued, I'm empowered, I can do anything. It means I'll pave the way for every girl who plays high school sports in the future, just like every female student, coach, official, and administrator blazed the trail for me, because every student deserves the opportunity to play. Encourage girls you know to participate in Georgia high school sports.
This message presented by the GHSA and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
All right, y'all. Sorry about the delay. Kind of doing two things at one time, so please forgive me. But I wanted to bring Craig on to kind of talk to him kind of about what's been going on. Again, y'all forgive me for my knowledge. I am trying to get back. Again, I did play some basketball, but I am a little behind because my focus right now has been football. But I'm excited to learn more about some of these teams and learn about some of these rankings and kind of what Craig Sager has to say. So, Craig, let's go ahead and get into it, man. In your opinion, what's been kind of the biggest sleeper so far this year?
I think down in Class A boys, Mount Bethel's undefeated start, that's been impressive. They've been shooting up the rankings, so glad to see that. They were new to the GHSA probably only like 5 years ago is when they joined, but they have a lot of support behind their athletics. We saw uh, their volleyball team made a run to the state championship this year, and now their boys are playing great. So I think that's good to see. And then the Brookwood girls, that's a team that's never won a state title before. They're off to a blazing start. We know how talented all those Gwinnett teams are, but you got to like their chances. And then just back to the Class 6A on the girls' side, I think that's where the strength really is this season. So many talented teams have gone into that classification, so it's really played itself out. Rockdale County looks amazing. Danielle Carnegie, arguably the best player in the state, just had a monster performance. And then on the boys' side, Wheeler just had a kind of a personal win over Grovetown. So Grovetown was the team that knocked them out in the second round last season in one of the biggest upsets, and then they actually completed that run to win the state title. They just squared off this past week, though, in I forgot what showcase it was, but Wheeler came away with a pretty sizable victory. So I think that's a good sign for the Wildcats. They definitely wanted to avenge that loss, and they're cruising right now.
Yeah, they are. And like I said, Willard, that's a talented program. Let's go ahead and get into them kind of on the boys' side a little bit. Um, I mean, man, I heard they have a lot of studs in their program. Like as I mentioned earlier in the show, Isaiah Collier, South USC commit, currently number 4 on the basketball rankings score 247 Sports. How good is he? And how long has he been playing for Willard?
What was that name?
Isaiah Collier. He's a University of South California commit. He's number 4 according to rankings. Let me see if Willard. I don't know what he's averaging this season, but I heard the guy's a stud. I've seen some of his film. It's really good.
Yeah, so he had that 23-point performance against Grovetown this past, when was that? I think it was this last weekend. So he actually, he was on the team last year. They did have a ton of transfers, though, coming in. It looks like that Josh Hill, he's a 6'10" guy. And then his teammate, who is that? Yeah, Arrington Page. he had a big performance too. So, I mean, when you have two players like them, their top scorers combining for nearly 50 points against a great team like Grovetown, that is a big sign for Wheeler. But, yeah, they're always stacked. They always have all these big recruits. They've been one of the most dominant basketball programs in the country, honestly. And they always have tremendous size. So I just think that's a good sign for them. They're number one. They're back up in 7A, so they're back to form for sure.
Yeah, and I heard you mention Newton. I think, forget who defeated them. You mentioned them though, but they've been performing well. And then the Stomphon Castle's a UConn commit. How good is he, and how good is that kind of that Newton program this year on the basketball side?
So he's the number 3 ranked player in the entire state right now. I think
Wow.
the question with him, though, it's like, is he going to be at the next level? Is he going to be a combo guard, kind of a complementary player, or can he run the show? And that's kind of, I think, what we're going to get to see play out this season. If you think about it, he has shown he has a great ability to pass the ball, but is he going to be able to take over? Because his teammate in that last game, MJ Whitlock, he had the game-high 24. Stephon had 19 points. He's also facilitating a lot more, so I don't think he's trying to be the top scorer, but, I mean, he's obviously ranked really high, one of the best players in the state, but is he going to kind of go on to be a combo guard, or is he going to try to be that point guard and run the show? I think that's something interesting to look for, but certainly one of the most talented players in the state. I think he's a 6'6" guy who could potentially handle the ball like a point guard. So I mean, that's just
Yeah.
really impressive.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see kind of what his role will be next
They
year,
kind of
especially
want,
with
yeah,
UConn.
does he
And
have that killer instinct at the point
yeah,
guard position?
yeah.
'Cause, I
See, I
mean,
think
we've
those.
seen that.
Yeah, those are some of the questions you have too, like especially collegiately, like a guy that was combo guard. How does he kind of transition to the next level? You'll see that too in college, kind of. Not to bring up NBA or anything, but when we seen Lonzo in college at UCLA, we always thought like, does he have that killer instinct to be able to bring it on the next level? So, I think that's a great point by you. But yeah, he's a 4-star, had a bunch of offers, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, and places like that. But he decided for UConn. That program's kind of been under the radar for some years. They haven't been kind of up to snuff as they've been, in previous years when they was battling for college titles and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the program and if they're going to have him kind of is he be more of a point guard or is he going to kind of be combo like he is now? So I think, again, great point. What are your thoughts, though? We just actually interviewed Luella's coach. I think she's a phenomenal coach. I think she's teaching them the right things, especially with how our society is today with just, it got to be right now, right here. If you don't have it, then, what I'm saying, just give up on it. But I think she's teaching them some good life lessons. Obviously, it was, good. I was able to kind of get her to talk about the state final loss. But, what do you think about that program and some of the things she's been doing there?
I think Luella's girls program has just helped elevate all of Georgia high school basketball on the girls' side. They play in all these showcases. They're a team you want to have coming into your tournaments and kind of invitationals to raise the profile. They've been playing up in classifications. They'll play the big private schools. And then I think what you said was interesting just about last year's loss. We saw the highlights from it. It was just a really tough loss. I mean, I'm not saying Marist got lucky, but I mean, they hit this half-court shot at the buzzer to force overtime, and then they end up getting a rebound, a steal, and then another buzzer beater at the end. So it's they were such a phenomenal team all year, as you said, ranked number 1, and then to lose like that in the state championships, it's I know that one was shocking. I know that was tough, and there's not really anything you can do about it than just say, hey, we still feel like we were the best team. We lost a tough one, but we're going to come out next year with a chip on our shoulder. We saw Wheeler do that, getting a revenge on Grovetown. And then Marist is up in 6A now, so they don't even have that potential of state championship rematch. But I think there is a new team. She was talking about how they're ranked number 3 right now, and that's Holy Innocents. We know how good they've been at basketball. Previously, they were down in Class A private. They won some state titles, battled with the likes of Wesley in all those years. So I think Holy Innocents and Luella, they're definitely the tough competition that's going to be competing in 4A this year. But I just think with Luella, as I said, that's a team that has really helped just elevate the entire state, just the way they've gone into these high-profile showcases, the way they've played against the Alabama teams, the Florida teams. I mean, they are really showing the country kind of what is going on with girls high school basketball in Georgia.
Yeah, and let's talk really quick about the Holy Innocents program. Obviously, you mentioned they're number one right now, according to some rankings. Excuse me. What you think is going on with their program? We've seen their football team have a really good year. I think they went out in the quarters, if I'm not mistaken. The girls basketball program's having a good year. So, what you think is going on over there in the Holy Innocents program to kind of lead to some of this success they've been having?
Yeah, I mean, they just have they take athletics really seriously. I think on the football side, it's interesting. They share a football stadium with Riverwood because the schools are right next to each other. But then they've just been so good at girls' athletics over the years. Their volleyball has been outstanding. Then obviously their girls' basketball has been a tremendous program. They just send a lot of players to the next level, and I think this was a breakout season for them in football this year. They were outstanding. That's a big jump to go up to 4A. They lost this past week in a pretty close game to Troops. I mean, that just says a lot, just how tough they are. And I think just the enrollment numbers, classing them up is key. But I'm looking at, on the girls' side, it looks like they had a couple players transfer out, actually. Sanaa Harris went from Holy Innocents to Archer. Brooke Suttle, she was one of their best playmakers last year. She's a junior, 6-foot junior. She went to Campbell. So I'm trying to see if they kind of got anyone else. But, yeah, so two of their kind of best players transferred out. So that's interesting. But, I mean, they're still number one. So I'll have to kind of do a deeper look into who they've been returning and who's been leading them so far.
Yep, and a couple more questions before I let you go, Craig. One, just kind of walk me through kind of your mindset of what do you think about the Norcross and Grayson boys programs? Norcross is 4-0, Grayson's 4-1. The team you kind of pointed out to me that you thought is having a really good season. What's kind of going on over there, and how good do you think those two programs could be, and potentially, making it difficult for Willard maybe come postseason time?
Yeah, I think Grayson's kind of rise to a top team in the state, that probably began like, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago. And then all of a sudden their basketball team's just been loaded year after year. They used to be thought of just kind of like more of a scrappy, great defensive team. They've got some real star power now, and that foundation has been built with what they're doing over there. And then when it comes to Norcross, I mean, they're always just outstanding. I always say, like, I made the analogy to your freshman who was playing linebacker at Grayson this past year. It's like, if you can start playing linebacker at Grayson, that's the equivalent of starting on Norcross's basketball team. I mean, if you walk around and say, I'm a starting guard for Norcross, people know, okay, this is one of the best players in the state. This is one of the best players in the country. They just have such a star-powered roster every single season. A lot of guys will come in wanting to go to that program just because it's literally just been a pathway to the next level with all the different players that have come through it. So I just think Gwinnett County basketball is outstanding. Grayson has just really been on an upward trajectory, contending for state titles and kind of making that case for themselves. So I definitely think they're a top 5 team. It's just going to be really interesting to see what they do this year.
Yeah, you actually just answered my question. I was going to actually follow up with that and see what you thought, but you answered it. Just if you think Norcross is like one of those programs, you could say almost like how Alabama is in football, or I'm trying to think of another collegiate program, like a Duke or North Carolina is in basketball. Just one of those programs, going to get you kind of that recognition and kind of like, okay, well, hey, year in, year out, like these guys are probably going to go to the league or, make it to the next level, at least at a bare minimum if you play on the program. But you pretty much answered that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. It's like there's so much, like, it's almost like they've become like a brand. It's like you put on that Norcross basketball jersey, you're getting attention from from colleges. You know people are watching your games. And so that's what makes it so enticing. And even if you are a program guy that's kind of going up through the Norcross system, you went to the middle schools and stuff, that's extra motivation knowing just what the standard is at Norcross. Just they're going to compete for state titles year in and year out. So it's like, you're kind of at that place.
Yeah, and before we transition to kind of the final question, I mean, I definitely agree with you. Norcross has built a really good program on a lot of their sports. And I know that's kind of what they're known for, but they have a great program as far as academically too. Their IB program, their AP program. So, I mean, they got a lot of things special over there. And like I said, they got players in the NFL. They got players in the NBA, so they're doing something special over there for sure. But I want to move to 4A. I want to talk about this is the boys' side, McDonough and Pace Academy. Some teams having some great starts to the year. How good do you think those programs are, and what's kind of going on over there in McDonough?
Well, that's definitely what it's going to come down to, whether one of those teams can take it. McDonough last season had their best year ever. I want to say they were either undefeated or only had one loss until they dropped a tough one in the playoffs. But a lot of people were thinking, okay, this is the year. They were absolutely loaded. They returned pretty much everyone from last year's team. And that's just the interesting thing with this reclassification. Pace Academy, Sharman White over there, I think he's still there. I mean, he comes in into this new classification with 4A, and Pace Academy is just an absolute powerhouse. So I think those are the top two teams right now. I'm sure they'll play eventually, if not in the playoffs, definitely one of these showcases or high-profile tournaments, because those are two teams that everyone knew is just going to be exceptional this season.
Yeah, well, I want to say thanks so much, Craig, for joining the show. Definitely appreciate you giving us some of your insight, kind of teaching me a little bit about some of these programs and, how they've been able to perform this season. Definitely couldn't do it without you. So thanks again, man, for tuning in and coming in and on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, Coach Brown was awesome. That was a great guest. I really enjoyed it. That was fantastic to learn that she makes them run cross country. That was priceless.
No, for sure. When I found that out on the podcast I watched the other day, I was like, what? They're running cross country? But I think it comes again to that point, man, you talked about, like, just playing those multiple sports. It just always keeps you in shape.
Yep, just competing. I mean, it's a sport you got to show up to. You can't loaf around in cross country.
No, you definitely cannot. But thanks, Craig. We appreciate it, man. All right, so I'm going to let him go, guys, and then kind of wrap up the show. All right, guys. Sorry about that. But, yes, that was Craig Sager. A lot going on this week. Again, I promise you, me and his analysis will be a lot better, going forward as we kind of wrap up football. That kind of takes the field. That kind of takes the stage, first. Like I said, this will be our final televised game. Gainesville and Roswell. So make sure you go to scoreatl.com and tune into that. We'll be having the results from the semifinal round. We'll have our post-game show. Also Friday, it should be around about 11:30 or as soon as the game ends for Gainesville and Roswell. Me and Craig will be coming on. So you guys stay tuned to that. His show is tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon. He'll be talking about and previewing the big games and also getting into some upset picks and things like that. So tune into tomorrow's show. Tune into our YouTube page. Got a lot going on. And yeah, our website, we have our pages up now. Underrated and Overlooked Podcast has a ticker now, so you can click on that and see all the episodes that we've debuted, the 4 episodes. Been a month now. Crazy to say, huh, Craig? Already a month full of our podcast, which is pretty crazy to say. And now it's been kind of a month for mine as well. So I have this show that you're currently streaming, watching right now. You can go on scoreatl.com, click on the ticker, and you can watch this show as well. But again, thanks guys so much for tuning in. This is a lot of fun. I promise next week I'll be a lot better. But we'll get into some other guests next week, and we'll recap another action of basketball. So we'll see you then.